Hello and welcome to Mental Health and Me. In this one, I wanted to talk about sleep and not just the topic sleep because I've spoke about that before. But somebody asked me the question about how do I sleep and have racing thoughts and things like that. And the truthful answer is like it happens that often. I'd say 5 nights out of 7, I have nights where I say I've got a noisy mind. That it becomes second nature. So sort of being able to give exact advice on what I do is hard to pinpoint because what I do now is just a habit. Um, but things that I would definitely recommend is wearing an eye mask when you go to sleep. And the reason being is because you've got these racing thoughts and it's hard to grab sleep. When you've got like maybe your curtains aren't quite dark enough, or there might be a light on your telly or things like that, anything like that during your sleep, as you know, like obviously your eyes flicker and things like that, and anything can disturb your sleep. And you've had these racing thoughts, you finally got to sleep, and then something silly like you might be your alarm clock or something like that just flick, your eyes flicker, catches your attention, and you're awake. So eye mask honestly really does help. As regards the racing thoughts, what personally I go to sleep and I listen to podcasts. I've got, as I've mentioned before, a wireless or a wired headband, and it acts as an eye mask as well. But it's got built-in earphones. I mean, it cost me about £8, I think, off Amazon. You can get them for £20, Wi-Fi wireless ones and things. But I put it over my eyes, listen to a podcast, and that way then I've got the noise as if I was listening to the telly in the background, but without the light that disturbs your sleep. Um, and what you find sometimes is like you you've got to sort of, I know it sounds like I'm preaching again, but the mindfulness, you've got to be mindful of what you're listening to, not what your mind's telling you. Um, even like I know it sounds silly, but I listen to a lot of football podcasts. So sometimes I'll mentally think about something regards what they're talking about, and work it out for myself and things. Just so it's a thought that I'm putting in my mind, not one that my mind's put there for me to ruminate over. But listening to podcasts, honestly, like I say, I listen to tons of football ones. If somebody wants to know what I listen to, then just drop me a message. I'll happily tell them. I listen to a few bits and bobs, funny ones and that, and it really does help. Another thing is, like I said, before you get into bed, if you've had something worrying you all day, uh, and you don't keep a journal, like I've mentioned that you should really, because it helps process these thoughts. Before you fall asleep or get into bed, give yourself 10-15 minutes to actually think about what your mind wants you to think about. Whatever's worrying you, give yourself some 10-15 minutes to actually focus on that. And it can help during the day as well, because like you can think, well, I'll think about that later. For now, I've got to concentrate on this, and your mind's like, okay, fair enough. I'll put it on the back burner for a minute because I know they'll talk about it. They'll go through it later tonight. Um, so before go to sleep, you got stuff. Even in the shower or anything like that. You know, again, practice like the mindfulness, but um, allowing the mind to push out everything that it's been wanting to all day that you've sort of tried to suppress. Maybe let it come out, and this is where you've got to practice the mindfulness. You're not reacting to it. That's why it's hard, and with OCD things like that. Um, you, you you practice it a lot with ERP, the exposure response, and you got to let all these thoughts flood out, and you've got to basically like just stand there solid like a wall and just like let it all come. And it's hard, and if you've had things that are playing on your mind all day, and if you try and get to sleep with them, it's just going to carry on and carry on. And what you'll do, you'll ruminate on it even more, uh, by the time you do fall asleep, you'll fall asleep out of pure exhaustion because of what's going on in your head. So give yourself 10-15 minutes before you go to sleep. Personally, you should, I'd say you should write it all down. But if you don't want to do that, then make sure you give yourself that time just to go through what is going on in there. Um, don't answer the questions, don't fight it, just let it come. See it for what it is, acknowledge it by, letting the thoughts flow, and then sort of doing something then that's purely for you, your self care before you go to sleep or get ready for sleep. So that could be, in my case, I watched some YouTube videos about, I don't know, bodybuilding or boxing or anything like that, and or it could be read a book or uh, play on the computer for an hour or something like that, and then get into bed ready to sleep and do what suits you. Some people like to listen to meditations, guided meditations. I used to use Insight Timer, but I found podcasts work a lot better for myself. But again, it could be anything, listen to it, the radio, a bit of music, maybe, I don't know, like you can get them apps where they put out like a crackling fire noise, and that can help people drift off to sleep. But the main thing is, don't go to sleep fighting the thoughts. You're not going to fall asleep as quick as you'd like while you've got that battle going on in your head. It's the equivalent, I suppose, of trying to go to sleep while setting fireworks off. It's not going to happen. So you just gotta give yourself that time before you get into bed or ready to sleep, that to process what's going on in your head. As I say, write it down in your journal, or just on a notepad or anything like that, on your phone, anything, or give yourself that time to actually play it out, let it flow, be mindful, and then do what you've got to do that helps you sleep. And in my case, what I advise is darkness, and these wired or wireless headphones or anything like that, if you need them, you know, if you can just leave your something playing in the background on your phone or anything like that, you don't need this headband. Just wear an eye mask separately, and it'll keep you sort of relaxed, keep you in the like the sleep stage, won't let anything distract you. So I hope this can help somebody. I know it's not the most informative, but I've been doing it for that long now. Like I say, I don't really know how I do or what I do. That's just sleep to me. So thank you again, and again, feel free to ask any questions. Always, inboxes are open. On Instagram, YouTube, drop me a message in the comments. Please, feel free. Don't ever feel that you can't. So thank you again. Thank you for watching, and take care. Look after yourselves.